Good evening, folks, and thank you very much for joining us here on the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast. It's episode 196, our 20th for the year. My name is Tonchi Prusak, and I'm very happy to be with you here tonight. Thank you for joining us, as I said, wherever you may be. Well, it is the World Cup has come to an end, and a big congratulations to Spain, who took out the big trophy in America, in New York, defeating Argentina. And what a good game. What a great game that was. Or was it? Some people are saying it was a fantastic game. Some people are saying it wasn't so much of a fantastic game. Some people are saying it was a great tournament. Others are saying not so great. What do you folks think? Pop it in the comments section. Let's have a little bit of a discussion happening in the comments section. Now, folks, as you know, at the moment we are running a GoFundMe campaign. Last week, it's funny how a week can change quite dramatically. Last week, to be honest, I was feeling very dejected, very demoralised, to the point that, look, honestly, I did not know if I even wanted to continue, because I just felt the Geelong community did not want a podcast, did not want a football podcast. Look, since then, we've had an amazing amount of support. Vlad Zetovic, who's got a security business in Melbourne, but they operate here in Geelong as well. He's come on board as a business advertising sponsor. I must reiterate how much I am very thankful to Adrian Leia and Curva Coaching Geelong, who's been a business advertising sponsor throughout this year, and also to Birregurra General Store, who are also tonight's sponsors as well. But look, we've got a GoFundMe campaign happening at the moment. The details are in the ticker down below. But look, does the Geelong football community really want a podcast that covers the local scene? And this is a chance for the wider football community to show that you really do care about promoting a sport, having a forum to discuss all things local. And look, the ball is in your court, essentially. To all the people, there's about 9 or 10 people so far that have donated to the GoFundMe campaign. We've hit $500. That's the most recent screenshot from earlier today. So thank you to everyone who has donated. A big thank you to Rob C., to David R., and Marina K. They've each donated $100 each, plus a couple of Louise as well, who donated $50, and a couple who wanted to wish to remain anonymous. Totally understand it. But look, any donation, big or small, is greatly appreciated. It's episode 20. We had funding enough for 20 episodes. Thank you to United League Security. Thank you to Eddie Contel, who's made a personal donation and sponsored 2 episodes. So he's sponsoring next week's episode and the episode after that. Thank you to the Masters Summer League. They've also sponsored 1 episode as well. Thank you so much. We had Simon Blanche on from the Masters last week's show to talk about the over 45s division that they are proposing. Well, let me tell you, there's been a lot of interest in that. So stay tuned for that. Before the end of the season, we'll get someone from the Masters to tell us a lot more about what they actually do behind the scenes, because it's not just organising football for a bunch of old blokes and women. They do a lot of benevolent work in the community as well. They raise a lot of money for mental health. They sponsor this program as well, so they do a hell of a lot. The $500 from the GoFundMe page as well, that's just a start. Look, if we can extend, basically what's going to happen is we've got enough funding at the moment, and let me just have a check and I'll look at the exact dates that we've got. So we've got enough funding at the moment to last us until August the 24th. Now, what we want is we want to extend the season to end of September 21, in fact, when that's the day after the finals of the local league. That's the aim. That's the absolute aim. If we get anything more than that, either from the GoFundMe page, either from businesses reaching out and sponsoring us, that'll get us, give us a good foothold into season 2027. So Folks, really do appreciate all of your support. There's Vlad. He's on the comments section, as is Santino Mamone. Those two blokes are absolute legends. And to everyone who tunes in, week out. As I said, there's all the details are in the ticker down the bottom there. Donate to our GoFundMe campaign. Keep the Geelong Region Soccer Show on air. Any donation, as we said, big or small, is greatly appreciated. And there it is. Go www.gofundme.com/F/help the podcast see out the 2026 season. Okay, we're going to take a short ad break, and when we return, it's time for tonight's news desk. A lot happened in football over the weekend. United League Security is your sports security specialists, keeping your employees, guests and assets safe at all times. At United League Security, we can assist with all security needs, but we specialise in event and sports security. We provide licensed security services throughout Victoria with an established presence in Melbourne, Ballarat, Bendigo and of course Geelong. We support a wide range of clients including logistics providers, event organisers, hospitality venues and commercial property managers who require consistent site-aware protection. Our team of experienced security professionals is dedicated to ensuring the safety and security of your event so you can focus on providing a great experience for your attendees. For more information about any of our services, contact us on 8624 0599 or visit our website at www.unitedleaguesecurity.com.au. And then we have some action from the weekend's VPL 1 clash between North Geelong Warriors and Melbourne Victory at Alco Park. A very good crowd on hand. They had a sponsors lunch earlier that day. Lots of, it was a who's who of the Geelong football community. Adrian Leyer from Curva Coaching Geelong, former Socceroo Matty Sporanovic, and the head of the football or the soccer department at Western Heights College and former Croatian international and former North Geelong Warriors coach and player Joey Didalica fronted a panel, a three-person panel, and the Warriors vice president Stipe Kump asked them a whole series of questions. I had the pleasure of emceeing that day, and it was great to see a lot of people from other clubs there as well throughout the evening. Mike McKinstry was there from Football Victoria Geelong, Eddie Contel, the deputy mayor of Geelong. There was the local branch of the Lara Community Bank, Bendigo Bank at Lara, were in attendance. Anthony Aiken, another councillor from City of Greater Geelong, Katrina Roundtree, television personality, and Lara/Little River local, whose son's involved at North Geelong Warriors, was all there. Also, I had the privilege of having my book launch, unofficial book launch. And that was a massive hit. You will hear a little bit more about that, but if you haven't had a chance to, jump on Amazon. And The Final Whistle, A Footballer's Legacy. If you do know me, reach out to me. More than happy to deliver a signed copy as well. So, and that's another way that you'll be able to help this show, this very, very podcast. There it is. All the details down the bottom. Let's get on with all of the news. So turning our attention first of all to the VPL 1, North Geelong lost to Melbourne Victory 2-0. The Warriors slipped down to 9th position. They've got a game in hand and it is fairly close there, but certainly as far as promotion this year, it does not look like the Warriors will be moving up to NPL Victoria. This Saturday, the Warriors travel to Brunswick Juventus, or to CB Smith Reserve, to take on Brunswick Juventus, and it's a 6 p.m. game. And it's going to be a tough one because Juventus are currently in second spot at the moment, 14 points clear of the Warriors with an extra game. In fact, just going back to that game, North Geelong Warriors game, it was Stuart Begg's 100th game coaching the Warriors. Now, Stuart will be joining us a little bit later on in the program tonight. He's got some absolutely fantastic words of advice for any budding coach looking to succeed and coach at the highest level. He talks about how he gets away from the pressures of VPL1 football and a club that does have high expectations in North Geelong. Geelong Galaxy, well, they drew with Southern United 1-1. It was an own goal in the 83rd minute, which secured Galaxy 1 point. They stay in 5th position on the ladder. Oh, that's a bit of a misprint there with the 8 points. I think it should be the other way around. I think Ballarat City have got 8 points. Geelong Galaxy have got 32 points. Geelong Galaxy in 5th position, Ballarat City on the bottom. They are indeed Geelong Galaxy's next opponents, but that will be in 2 weeks' time because there's no game this weekend because it is the catch-up round in the Victorian Premier League women's competition. Geelong just seemed to be going from strength to strength. They came away from Paisley Park on the weekend, 2-1 win over Altona East. Fantastic result for the Lions. Mitchell Johns scoring 1 goal, and the Brazilian Olavo de Andrade Santos also scoring for the Lions. Geelong are on top by about 2 points, so looking like they will be returning to VPL2 next season. Great to see. In State League 2, Surf Coast defeated Geelong Rangers in a very, very tight affair at Banyul Warrior Reserve. Masamichi Kuroyanagi scoring from the penalty spot after just 5 minutes. Corio remain anchored to the bottom of State League 2 after going down 2-0 to Whittlesea Rangers. Geelong Rangers are second last, Corio last, so it's not looking good for 2 out of the 3 Geelong teams in State League 2. Bell Park lost to Sebastopol Vikings at home on Saturday night, and this could prove really, really costly. At the moment, Bell Park is still in second spot, but geez, they're going to rue that they lost these 3 points. Certainly could be costly come season's end. It's going to be a tough one, a very close one there in State League 4. In State League 5, Lara United remain firmly anchored to the bottom of the competition standings after losing yet again, this time to Doreen United, 3-0 at home. Finn Duncan scored both goals for... Finn Duncan scored 1 goal for Deakin Ducks, but it wasn't enough as the Ducks lost 2-1 to Melbourne City. In State League 6 action, Ocean Grove defeated Alphington 2-1. David Favetta and Matthew Bell scoring for the home side. And Barwon defeated Melbourne University by the same scoreline, 2-1. Finn Murphy scoring a double. Geez, he scored something like 20 goals so far this season. Incredible goal-scoring record by the youngster there. Let's go to this weekend's games. Geelong travels to 10th placed Western Suburbs. That game at Ralph Reserve at 3 p.m. in State League 1 action. Round 17. So we're starting to, 6 rounds left before the end of the season. Not many games left. Geelong Rangers defeated... Geelong Rangers. I hope they do defeat Williamstown. Geelong Rangers taking on Williamstown up at Myers Reserve. It's a case of 11th versus 5th. And the Rangers could do Surf Coast a big favour by taking points off Williamstown because Surf Coast are at home to Corio and they'll be looking to do the double against Corio and win this game. They won the corresponding fixture early in the season at Hume Reserve. Another Geelong derby, this time between the Coasters and Corio at Banyul Warrior Reserve this Saturday evening at 5 p.m. Bell Park, as we said, currently in second position. They travel to 9th placed Westside Strikers. Must win game. Must win after dropping points to Sebastopol. They need to come home with all 3 points from Taylor's Hill Reserve. The game kicking off at 3 p.m. Saturday afternoon. Lara travels to 6th placed Heidelberg Stars in State League 5 action. Game at 3 p.m. At Cartledge Reserve. And Deakin Ducks hosting Newport Storm, who are in 10th position. And this game at Deakin University, Warm Ponds, kicking off at 3 p.m. And last but not least, as far as the men's state league action is concerned, in State 6, Ocean Grove are away to 8th place Truganina Hornets, and 6th place Barwon host 10th placed West Point at Grovedale Reserve Saturday evening at 5:15 p.m. Okay, let's move along to Women's State League action as well. Warriors lost to top team Mill Park 1-2 on Saturday afternoon at Alco Park. Jasmine Siamon scoring the Warriors' only goal. Look, it was a fighting performance by the young Warriors against the top team, and they did come away with a loss, but it was a narrow loss in round 12 action. In round 13 action, this Sunday, in fact, the Warriors travel to City Vista Reserve in Caroline Springs to take on George Cross. That game kicking off at 3:15 p.m. It's going to be another tough clash, tough assignment for the Warriors because George Cross is in second spot. A cool 20 points ahead of North Geelong Warriors. Rightio, let's turn our attention now to the local league, the Geelong Region men's competition. Well, we've got Geelong Rangers defeated Armstrong United 2-1 up at Myers Reserve. I had a chance to pop up there and watch this game in action. We'll have some highlights of this in the interview with Stuart Begg a little bit later on in the show, but it was Rangers defeated Armstrong United 2-1 after scores were locked 1-1 at half-time. Golden Plains defeated Deakin Ducks 2-0 to solidify their second spot on the competition standings. FC Leopold lost to league leaders Bell Park 2-0 at Estuary Reserve, and at Grovedale Reserve, Barwon got thumped by Surf Coast 5-1. Round 8 fixtures, 3 games on Friday night. Second place Golden Plains taking on 6th placed Armstrong United. Game kicking off at 7 p.m. at Bannockburn. FC Leopold hosts Barwon at 7:30 p.m. at Estuary Reserve. Rangers taking on top team Bell Park, 4th versus 1st, up at Myers Reserve at the later kickoff time of 8:15 p.m. And on Sunday, Surf Coast is at home to the Deakin Ducks. In Women's Division 1, a big thumping result by Surf Coast over Geelong Rangers to win 10-0. In round 7 action, Bell Park defeated Deakin Ducks. A good win there for the All Whites, 1-0. Armstrong United drew with Ocean Grove Tool, and Lara United lost to Barwon at home, 1-6. Now this Saturday, Lara United is at home to Deakin Ducks. They'll be looking to get back on the winning ways and enter the top 4. Deakin Ducks will be looking to solidify their spot in the top 4. Top team Barwon is at home to Armstrong United on Saturday, and Bell Park is at home to second place Surf Coast. That should be a fantastic game, 4th versus 2nd. And then last but not least at 3 p.m. up at Myers Reserve, Rangers hosting Ocean Grove. Now, just a reminder about that GoFundMe campaign that is happening at the moment. We've raised $500. It's only been happening since the weekend, so it's a good result. Our aim is to get 1,500, so we're about a third of the way there. But we would like to get to 1,500, and that will pretty much ensure that we can see out the season until the local league finals in mid to late September, and also hopefully give us a good, solid start for season 2027. To absolutely everyone who has so far donated and is planning on donating, thank you. But Geelong, the ball is in your court. Support the podcast that supports your sport. Apart from some very, very good articles last week in the Geelong Advertiser, where they had the grounds for concern campaign happening. We don't get much publicity at all. And it's then up to the clubs to do their own little publicity on their social media pages. But who reads that? Just basically their supporters. The Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast is the only medium that covers the sport as a whole. Sometimes we have some interesting things, sometimes we don't. We try and do the best we can, and we try and cover as much of a wide spectrum about the local sport as we possibly can. That brings us to the end of tonight's news desk. We're going to take a commercial break, and when we return, it's time for tonight's guest, a big interview that was recorded earlier today with North Geelong Warriors coach Stuart Begg on the occasion of his 100th game that he coached for the Warriors over the weekend against Melbourne Victory.
The world is yours. So work hard, and you can have whatever it is you want.
From Miller's Cafe in Lara. I know the owner here. He's a football man involved with Lara United, and it's basically my backyard, but it's also the backyard of our guest today, Stuart Begg from North Geelong. Mate, we're practically neighbours, but we never get a chance to sort of catch up here.
Yeah.
Do you come here often?
I'd like to come more. I think I've came a handful of times when I first moved into the area, but not much.
Yeah, it's beautiful here. It is. It's you live not that far from here. I live not that far from here, and it's amazing that Geelong's only 10-15 minutes away. But mate, you're the coach of North Geelong Warriors on the weekend. 100 games, milestone coaching at North Geelong. Now, as the bird flies in that direction, Alco Park's only a kilometre away, or less than a kilometre away. Do you come here to kind of sometimes defrag? Do you come here to sometimes gather your thoughts? Or what do you do away from football to sort of just, I don't know, stay normal?
As a coach, most coaches would know it's hard to stay sort of normal. You've got to focus as much as you can on the time that you've got with the team, and then when you're away from football, your mind's never really away from it.
Yeah.
So you spend a lot of time at home still thinking about football, and which when you're at home you should be thinking more about the family. But my family's very understanding, and they understand that that takes a lot of time away from me. So where I can try and focus on my family, and where I can I focus on football.
Yeah, let's talk about your football. I mean, let's talk about your playing days, because believe it or not, you're still playing. I mean, I was up at Myers Reserve taking in a little bit of local league action on the weekend. My nephew plays up there at Rangers, and a cold night, misty night, and there's a certain centre back by the name of S. Begg still pulling on the boots. So I'm not going to talk about how old you are, but you're not a spring chicken anymore, mate. But you must love it that much that you just can't get enough of it. Am I right?
I love playing football. The whole reason I sort of got into coaching in a way was knowing that obviously when you retire from football, I still want to be involved in football, have that itch scratched from football, and that's how I really got into coaching. But yeah, I love playing it, and where I can, I will.
Mm-hmm. Most coaches these days, they say they're students of the game, so they're always learning. They're always looking for new areas of improvement, either in their own coaching game or coaching style. Who over the years, I mean, like I said, we're going to kind of jump from here to there and this and that, but 100 games of coaching senior level at North Geelong, that's a mean milestone, by the way. Who've been some of the big influences either in your playing days or your early coaching career or even now? I mean, who do you kind of look to for not necessarily inspiration, but maybe ideas and, kind of something, well, maybe inspiration, yeah.
Interesting one. I sort of first had my taste at coaching, I've been involved in coaching at Rangers when in 2016, took an assistant role with Jim McLean, and I started to do my licenses in that moment as well. I did my C license.
So you'd finished playing by that stage, yeah?
No, I was still playing.
Still playing,
so
no?
I was an assistant player, assistant coach and still playing, knowing that, eventually that's where I sort of wanted to lead to. And so he resigned halfway through that season, and then I was forced to take over. And so I took over. We won the league that year, but I still played, and it was very hard for me to do both. So at the end of that year, I retired from playing and then kicked on coaching. And you have your influences. I had Pete Bradley was at Geelong Rangers. It was there. I had Liam McCluskey, who was at Rangers as well, and they were sort of guiding me a little bit through that moment of my early days as senior coach. When I finished my reign at Rangers, a coach named James Coots, who was at North Geelong at the time, reached out to myself through Joe Zilic, and basically under his guidance was pretty much where I understood different avenues of how to coach players, how to mentor them, and sort of how about to maybe my own sort of style, a little bit of what he does, because I loved a lot of the stuff he done. So he was a massive influence in the way I coach now.
Now, from memory, James Coots, he's a Queenslander, is that right?
He's in Queensland now.
In Queensland now, yeah. But he basically a professional coach. That's his livelihood, and he's made quite a career out of it and at different levels. And going from that, say, part-time sort of semi-professional kind of environment to a more of a professional kind of environment, apart from how much did your coaching style change, or even your outlook on coaching, better said? Yeah,
it definitely changed when I went to North Geelong, because obviously when I was at Rangers, I think it was hard as well because I played with all the players that was there. So when you're a player coach and then you move into coaching, they're sort of still your teammates.
Yeah. Do they take you seriously, or sort of?
Well, when things are going well, they do. When things are going more difficult, then you can just see it's hard to sometimes sort of, I don't know, tell them what to do, because they sort of feel they're on the same level as them, and that was a learning experience in itself. Moving to where Coots was, he sort of helped me look at myself and find out what I do really well. And for me, I looked at things that, where I needed to improve on. And the best thing is he showed me the things I could sort of change in the way I coach. And you find your own sort of rhythm. You find your way, the good things, and you continue to do that. And then you find the things that you really need to harness in on. And for me, I've also discovered delegation, which is one of the things that Coots was really good at. He understood the things that when I was helping him that I could do for him. And that's a big thing as a coach. Understand the things where you're strong at and where you're weak at. And if there's someone else around you, supporting staff, or anything that is good at something you're not, to lean on them to help them do those things for you.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you something about back in the day when you were a player and a coach at the same time. And I guess the Rangers dressing room at that stage had some pretty big figures, some larger than life figures in the dressing room, and being mates and stuff like that. Is that do you think something that helped you also be able to manage people, particularly those players that are really loud, really boisterous, for extroverted type players? When he came to North Geelong and started, coaching some of the players that I guess you've unleashed some really world-class players, and we'll talk about that a bit later on. But did it kind of help you as well? Like, as awkward as it might seem, sort of coaching some mates, but they're pretty larger than life. We won't mention any names, but I'm pretty sure people can know. Did that help you actually kind of develop a little bit of a skill with, let's call it human resource management?
Yeah. I mean, there's a massive psychology aspect of coaching, and
I'm fascinated by that.
Yeah.
Tell us more.
So obviously you've got player management is probably the hardest thing that people struggle to do.
Yeah.
You can have great people who know how to put on a session.
Yeah.
And they can do them really well, and tactical wise. But I'm a massive believer in player management, and you can't treat every player the same. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
I've seen coaches do that, and it just doesn't work. And sometimes it just takes time to discover how you need to treat one person and then treat another person. And you might need to kick one, you might need to cuddle one, and and that's figuring that out is probably the hardest part in coaching. And James actually helped me understand how to sort of get around that. And there's a lot of avenues that people don't see, a lot of things behind the scenes that, messaging players and giving them some good information, good feedback, and then obviously understanding you've got to criticize them, and there's ways of criticizing them or to build them up. So Coetzee was very good at helping me understand the differences and how to. And again, at North Geelong, when I came in, there was some big personalities in the dressing room then.
Yeah, hence I asked the question, did that help, with that?
And to see him, how he controlled those big personalities was a real game changer for me.
Yeah. Now, you've had, at North Geelong, for example, you had a couple of other coaches that you either coached with or coached under. One of them was Joey Diddlitzer. On the weekend, Joey spoke at a sponsors luncheon at North Geelong, which I had the privilege of actually emceeing. And some of the stuff he says, it was a shame that wasn't actually videotaped, because some of the things are such gold. And look, Joey, he now is involved at Western Heights College, as is Sean Mann, your assistant. And I guess as teachers, they're kind of constantly, improving their own style, improving their own craft. And under someone like Joey, tell us, what was it like? What did you most take out of that relationship with someone who, let's face it, has been at the World Cup at the highest of highest tournaments?
Joey was, his attention to detail was very high, massive high standards. Standards were very high. He was very good at watching a game, understanding the game itself and how it flows, and how to bring that into what's in his mind and getting that out into the football field. Learning from him and the experiences he had, and the best thing about Joey is there's stories. There's so many stories that Joey can talk to you about, and experiences he's had, and that was a massive influence for myself on how he engaged with some of the best players in the world, and how it just becomes second nature to him. And listen to him talk about his experiences. It's like, my God, I'm standing next to someone who has been in these dressing rooms with some unbelievable talent, and trying for him to just little bit by little bit by little bit, he just lets those little things out, and you can learn so much from him. His ability to make sessions. So his sessions, when he put them on, were very simple, nothing super complex, but it wasn't the sessions, it was the fine details in those sessions during the session that you could see him really honing in on.
Yeah. Is that something that we try and do, both as coaches, as players, as parents, as spectators? We try and overcomplicate the game. I mean, it's a simple game. That's what everyone says. 2 goals, a ball, get the ball in the back of the net. Do we try and overcomplicate things with modern football?
There is a big emphasis. I've seen some big coaches come out, and they've said basically that a lot of coaches overcoach. And for me to stand here and say that is the case, do I overcoach in moments? I believe I do. But every session that you do, you need to reflect on, and you might walk away and think, I made that too complicated. And the players are good at it; they'll tell you whether it's complicated or not. And simplifying things is probably the better way to go, because too much information can be too much, obviously, and you want to try and make the game as simple as possible. So I do agree. I think there's a lot of coaches out there that do, make things a lot more difficult than they should be.
Now, I suppose, I hope a lot of the players don't take this the wrong way, but I guess the modern day, there's so much information, and with coaching courses, a lot of it's textbook study. You know, you're studying this, you're studying formations. There's a lot of information, and you're constantly studying as coaches. Now, as players, they say a lot of players are the sharpest tools in the shed. And so, in many, many ways, a lot of these players, you kind of have to keep it very simple, almost dumb it down, like with all due respect. But you mentioned how you can't treat all players the same. When you start doing instructions and things like that, do you, at senior level, I'm not talking junior level now, at senior level, do you have to take that into account? And how do you approach it if you've got some players that are very, very switched on in their learning styles or whatever, and others that are not as switched on? Because obviously you've got to take into account egos and, you know, dressing room banter and all of that kind of stuff. In this modern day and age, when you know, people are a bit more sensitive than the old school Alex Ferguson types, you know,
yeah.
How do you approach that? Like,
it is hard because, again, like I said, everyone is different. And
is this where the assistants come in?
The assistants are very good. Sean's very good. You know, we've got sometimes a bit of yin and yang about us. So there'll be some players I know he can get through to, than more than me, and that can be a relationship thing. But there's some players that, and again, you know, I'm not going to mention names. There's some players,
no, please don't.
that I don't need to coach.
Yep.
And what I mean by that is because it's just natural. I could ask them a question. Why were you here? Did you know to make that run in that move in that moment? And they wouldn't even know.
Yeah. But
it's just instinct.
Yeah.
So they're great. You don't need to overcoach them. Just let them do their thing. And there's some other some players, especially a lot of the ones that have gone through a NPL system. I feel that they need to have a little bit more detail, like a lot of cues, you know, as in triggers. So when to do this, how to do that, why we're doing that.
Yeah.
So you've got to understand that you've got to give them a lot more information.
That's interesting, yeah. So we're back here now. We're talking with Stuart. Stuart, we're going to talk now about coaching. And you're an experienced coach. One of the things I think here in Geelong, we always say there's just not enough coaches, number one, but not enough quality coaches. You've coached there right at the top as far as NPL here in Victoria. Actually, we'll talk about that a bit later on. But in the meantime, words of advice. What would you? There are people in Geelong. There are coaches in Geelong, young coaches, who aspire to one day coaching, you know, at the highest possible level that they can coach. What would you suggest? What would you recommend?
I mean, support is a big thing. I mean, I have learnt that, you know, when I first came into coaching, I coached from juniors, like the mini roos, and every age group from there. Mostly because of my kids being at that same point as well, what most parents do. But the thing is, don't be in a rush to go quickly, as in to try get to a certain point quickly. You need to learn off people as much as you can, because, you know, you said before, football's a simple game.
Yeah.
But you can learn so much more from people who's had experiences, and don't be scared to ask questions. So the best advice that you can get for me is to ask as much questions as you can from people you want to learn off of.
Do you think a lot of younger coaches don't ask questions because it's a kind of a fear that they might be perceived to be dumb, not know, and so maybe their ego kind of takes over and says, don't ask those questions, pretend that you know? Does that, in your opinion, happen a lot?
I'm not sure. I know that the coaching courses that I've been on, and the best thing for me is the people in those coaching rooms with me, not the information that I'm getting on the courses.
Interesting. Yeah.
So, like, I mean, the A license that I was on recently, it's about 4 professional footballers in that room with me. We had some. Who do we have in that room? We had like a couple of A-League players. We had a couple of international players that came over at the time, and I asked as much questions.
And they
as I
were
could.
students, were they? Or
They were doing
presenters?
the A license as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
So they were
yeah,
there with us at the same level, but
Yep.
obviously they've had football experience as well
Yeah.
and truly above mine.
yeah,
And they've been involved in, you know, some of them have been coached by Ange. Some
Yep.
of them had be, like for instance, Joey, a lot of the stuff that the coaches he's had, he, you know, ask questions as much as you can. And there is no dumb questions.
No.
And that's the thing, that don't be scared to ask them. But it's just about everyone's opinions as well.
Yeah. Well, what I found, and I've done a few courses over the years, not to that level, but I always found that we would have these really interesting discussions and conversations, sometimes going off the tangent and talking about something that blends into something else. And it was, you're right, listening to some of the participants in the actual course, and you'd see sometimes the really good instructors, they almost like take a step back and let everyone start talking, and you make some really good network, you make some good I guess connections and stuff. But it was something that you never really even thought about, you start bringing up for discussion. And I think that, I don't know, for me personally, that's the beauty of football. You can get 2 people there watching the game, and everyone, or 20 people, and everyone will have a different opinion.
100%.
But that's what makes it so interesting. At North Geelong, obviously big club, passionate support, 1,000,001 coaches on the sidelines, and then you've got, you know, obviously, you know, the players themselves, you know, have probably been there for a while, and they've got their own opinions, I guess. How do you handle the criticism? Because there would be a lot, you know, when things are going really well, great, everyone's fantastic. When things aren't going really well, what do you do? Like we sort of at the top of the thing, we started talking about relaxing. What do you do in your spare time? How do you take up boxing or something, punching a bag? How do you handle that? Do you take it personally?
Look, I've been in some tough situations myself, obviously, some at North, and you know, even as last year, we went through a stage where I think we lost 3 in a row. One of them was a 7-1 loss. And, you know, you do come to a point where you start questioning your own ability as a coach, and, you know, what am I doing wrong? And then that's the moment where you hear the white noise that's coming from the outside, and you try and block it out. But you know, because you start losing confidence in your own ability, that's the tough moments. And the best thing to try and to do is to, you know, trust the process. So trust what you're doing is the right thing, but also be open to having conversations, and that's where your supporting staff in your group is important. And yeah, sure, there's everyone that will throw opinions at you from the crowd, or you know, and that's fine. They paid their money to be there and watch, and they're entitled to say whatever they want. But that's about being you know, resilient towards criticism, and understanding that you're going to cop it. And that's, I mean, it's justified too sometimes, you know, because they paid money to come in, and if they don't like what they see, they're going to tell you. That makes you harder, makes you tougher, makes you stronger in so many different ways, and understanding that, you know, you need to be resilient towards that. And for me, you try and block it out as much as you can, and push through it.
Who do you prefer as your sounding board? Do you keep it within yourself, or do you sort of get it off your chest and talk it with? Do you come home with the missus and the kids, or do you is it someone else, you know, old mate you used to play with, or is it, you know, Sean and some of the support staff? Who cops the wrath, I suppose?
It's purely just the support staff. Like Sean is pretty big for me. We talk every day about, you know, things that were good, things that were bad. What are we looking to do this week? How's the opposition going to be? You know, we constantly talk about how to improve. Even when we win, we're looking at ways that is improving. I mean, last year we went on that massive winning streak, and we were still looking to improve every week. So that doesn't stop. And you know, and Sean's really good, because for me, he doesn't agree in everything that I come up with. He throws ideas at me all the time. And you know,
but you need that, don't you? You
100%.
need to sort of stay on your toes. And look, one thing I've had the privilege over the years is to commentate at a lot of games, NPL, when North Geelong was particularly in the NPL, and the TV tower is right over the coach's box, so I get to hear everything. So does the effects mic a lot of the time. But one thing I've always been really intrigued is that every assistant coach, and there's several, all have kind of a role to play. They might overlap in certain things, but they all know what they got to do. One was an analyst, one was, say, a goalkeeping coach, but he was kind of like the player's player. And then we had another assistant coach, and then you were kind of overseeing all of that. I guess what I'm trying to say is that probably emphasizes just how important you got to have a good team on the park, but you got to have that really, really good team off the park as well.
It's important the people you put around you for many different reasons. Obviously, you've got to look at what weaknesses you have as a coach and what strengths the assistant has, and understand that that's the good thing to say, all right, well, these are things I'm poor at. I know that my assistants are good in these areas. I'm going to let them do that. Yeah. And that's about delegation and understanding that they're good at those things.
That word again.
The next thing is obviously having someone who can challenge you. And you've got to select that staff yourself. So one thing is, I believe, don't have a club select your staff for you, because you're never going to have full trust in them. You need to trust the people that you bring in, and the only way to do that is by bringing the people you want. And then, sure, on a game day, we've got our roles to play, and I don't get involved with the referees where I can. Sean will get involved with them and make sure that he's keeping them on their toes and stuff.
So he's the scapegoat. If he gets a yellow card.
Well, I think he cops all the yellow cards.
Yeah. Fascinating. These little insights into coaching, even at local level. And it's really fascinating. Love your opinion on the state of, this is something I talk with everyone, the state of let's call it coaches here in Geelong. I know that's one of in recent weeks we've been talking about facilities, a lot about facilities. We're talking about the record number of players and the state of the grounds as well, which we talked on last week. But coaches and calibre of coaches is something that always gets mentioned. Even referees, we're doing really well for referees. Getting back to that game on Friday night up at Myers Reserve, I couldn't believe it. Division 1 local league men's competition, and there's not only a referee but 2 officials. Well done, Geelong. We're doing well in that. Coaches, how are we going with coaches though?
I think we're
not just quantity but quality.
I think we're in the lower range. I think and it's not for the area's fault. I think that we need to invest more in coaches in Geelong. And I've been saying that for so many years.
What exactly? Like, I know Football Victoria recently has been trying to do a lot of foundations courses, expression of interest for C license courses, for example. There's probably not enough of a demand for B and A and Pro. So obviously we've got to go to Melbourne and what you're not. But what else is it that kind of is really lacking?
So it's column A and column B. So I would say that obviously I think the FV should be doing more down here with coaches. But the column B side is sometimes I feel that the Geelong community doesn't want to do it. They're happy to coach their kids, and they think as a parent they can just coach their kids, and then when they get to a certain point they're just going to walk away from the game and let other coaches do it. The issue is it's those coaches we need to continually to push all the way through. And sometimes it might be players who are dads who played the game, who has kids, who then go up as well. And some of them decide not to go on and coach. Some of these parents who don't know anything about the game, and they go all the way through. And then the same thing, they drop away and they don't want to continue on coaching. I think there needs to be more emphasis on, as the coaches are coming through at the younger age group, start to get them invested in coaching. That if you can grab them then as they're coming through, then maybe at the end you might get more of a percentage continually coaching. So, but I think the FV have to help out and maybe, we've got the people who was there on the weekend at North Geelong, all sitting in a chair. 3 people there.
Matt Sporanovic, Adrian Leia, and Joey Didlitz. I mean, they had a panel, and it's just a shame that it wasn't recorded, because some of the words that were coming out of those collective mouths was amazing.
You get those three and you get a bunch of people in for, they can help guide coaches, their experiences. Maybe they can motivate a little bit more of them to come through the system. And it's not, I'm not saying it's on those three. I'm just as an example. But if the FV can help us out and help promote coaching and maybe put more things on, that'd be great. But we've still got to get the column B, which is them to be doing it as well.
Yeah. There has been talk about facilities, pitches in Geelong, a regional facility in the north, a sub-regional in the south, a couple of grounds in the southern suburbs as well. But I just get the feeling with all the facilities, we're just not keeping up with the growth. Is it a good thing, the growth at the moment? Are we sustaining that? Are we? I don't know. This is a massive. We're opening up a massive can of worms here. But are we heading in the right direction as far as Geelong football, soccer? Call it what you want.
I seen a stat the other day. The participation rate in football in Geelong is massive. It's way more than what the AFL code is. Way more. So something's going right there.
Yeah.
Because they continually wanted to have more people join the game. I think facilities is getting there, but it's a slow burn. I think every club is still screaming out for better facilities.
Yeah.
And that'll happen, especially more like the regional clubs, like regional of Geelong. So there's on the outskirts, there's more clubs, and they need more facilities. But then, it's hard to say. For me, we're going in the right direction, but it's going to be a slow burn.
Yeah.
That's what I believe.
Well, certainly interesting times ahead, that's for sure. But 100 games at North Geelong Warriors, a magnificent achievement, Stewie. Congratulations on that. All the best, and thank you for taking some time out on a Monday morning during work time to come out here and talk football. Love chatting with you about it, and we need to catch up here a little bit more often, I reckon.
Great. Yep. Thank you very much, Tunchi.
Stuart Begg, coach of the senior team at North Geelong Warriors. Folks, we're going to be back after this very short break to continue with tonight's show. Fantastic service, food and coffee, well-stocked produce and groceries at very reasonable prices. 5 stars for the coffee served, beautifully made latte, everything you need in this wonderful little shop. Staff are always friendly and helpful, an absolute treasure to the community. These are just some of the glowing comments of praise by both regular and first-time customers of the iconic Birregurra General Store. The De Cunto family, well known in Geelong football circles, has run the iconic Country General Store since 2020, and apart from providing top quality service, they, along with their extremely pleasant and friendly staff, make sure that everything you could possibly need is well stocked and always available. Located at 59 to 61 Main Street in Birregurra and open all 7 days a week, the Birregurra General Store is open from 6am each weekday and 7am on weekends. If in Birregurra, pop in and say hello to Steve and Angus. And that almost brings us to the end of tonight's episode. You would have seen that little ticker earlier today, major announcement, and there it is again to Eddie Contel, who, as an individual, I have to stress this, it's not in his capacity as a councillor. No grants, no council funds, no City of Greater Geelong money has been donated to us. Rather, it's from his own pocket. Thank you, Eddie. Thank you so much because of you and your efforts. We've got the next 2 episodes secured. So next week's episode and the week after that has been kindly sponsored by Eddie Contel. So really, really thank you, Eddie. And let me just read what he said. And basically, when Eddie Contel, known to many as the Deputy Mayor of the City of Greater Geelong, heard that the Geelong Regional Soccer Show podcast was about to end due to a lack of funding, he felt the Geelong soccer community stood to lose something extremely valuable. As a long-time Geelong local and a parent whose daughters played soccer in Geelong, they played for Bell Park and Geelong Soccer Club, I believe, he understood the importance of having a dedicated voice for the sport. This we need to reiterate, this support isn't coming from council, it's coming from Eddie as a father, as a husband, someone who's a lifelong Geelong resident and soccer parent. We all know him, especially the clubs in the northern suburbs. He's a big supporter. He's pushing for the Geelong Regional Facility. He does a lot with a lot of other clubs as well, getting grants, micro grants, whatever the case may be. But what you don't see, people, is what he does behind the scenes as well. So thank you so much, Eddie Contel. Also, the Masters Summer League, they've also sponsored episode 23. So episodes 21, 22, 23, they've been secured. Episodes 24 basically have been secured through the GoFundMe campaign at the moment that has yielded $500 as well, coupled with a new business advertising sponsor this week in United League Security as well. It effectively means we've got enough to see out the season of 25 episodes. So, folks, thank you so much. We obviously we do need more. I'm not going to kind of lie and say, oh, you're always asking for something. But look, it's at the end of the day, does the Geelong community want a football program or not? Next week's show, we got a major announcement. I am told. That's all I've got to say because that's all I know. But I do believe a local club is making a major announcement next week. Some huge news, like really, really big news. That's going to be on next week's show, which is kindly sponsored by Eddie Contel himself. Until then, folks, have a lovely, lovely night, lovely week, and enjoy. Get out and about and watch a game or two or three. I think the World Cup this year would have seen how much the VAR has really, in my opinion, ruined modern football. We don't have that problem at community level. You go out there and you just enjoy it and catch up with people maybe you haven't caught up for a long, long time. Good night. Thank you for joining us on the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast. It was episode 20. Join us for episode 21 next week, Monday night, 8 p.m. Bye-bye.